Hello and welcome to my 2024 Morel Mushroom forecast. In this video I will be discussing state-confirmed finds, ideal soil temperature for morel growth, the first spring leaf index map, the past 30-day precipitation map, my 2024 morel forecast map, and my final thoughts for the 2024 morel season. And starting off with our confirmed finds, we have Georgia. Cobb County is checked in with 2 reports of 20 or more nice young grays. DeKalb County, which is an Atlanta metro, coming in with a giant beautiful gray. Boots County, the only county south of Atlanta that I have seen being reported. Cherokee County, starting to get further north of Atlanta with a few young grays. And Carroll County with a few pinning grays. Next up on our state confirmed finds, we have Missouri. Yes, with such an early season, Missouri is already starting. First, we have Washington County, checking in with a small yellow. It will be a couple of weeks until this one is fully mature. Newton County, which is around the Joplin area, with a small half-inch yellow. Stone County coming in with 2 reports, one being multiple young grays, and the other just a lone single. Dunklin County, which is at the Missouri boot heel, with about 30 young blacks. And Scott County with a dozen fresh blacks. Next up, we have Oklahoma confirmed finds. The first coming out of Canadian County, a small gray just starting to pop out of the leaves. Choctaw County with 2 nice reports, one being a dozen yellow and grays, and the other being 25 large yellows. Stephens County with a dozen mid-sized grays. Lincoln County working our way north with a small gray. And Marshall County with some beautiful large yellows. And I bet you didn't know morels grow in Texas too. What? I thought it was just a desert. No, they do. First up, we got Cookie County with 20 mid-sized yellows. Hill County with a nice 2-pack. And Rains County with some beautiful mature grays. Indiana finds. First we have Perry County with a small black. Davies County with a dozen 2-inch blacks. And Gibson County with a nice 2-pack. Kentucky finds. Nelson County, it's so small that even I can barely see it. But I assure you, it's there. McCracken County with a single black. And Ohio County with a nice pair. Moving on to our 2-inch soil temperature map. This is the most important factor when it comes to morel growth. If you do not have the right temperatures, morels simply will not grow. In my opinion, this is one of the best indicators for morel growth. Ideal temperatures range from 55 to 62 degrees Fahrenheit, which you can see most of the United States is already above that 50-degree level, much different from last year. With these kinds of warm temps nationwide, especially throughout the Midwest, we are going to see a much earlier season than usual. States like Missouri, Indiana, and Kentucky usually have not had their finds yet. In all honesty, I actually want it to cool down for a couple of weeks. Early seasons can shut off in a blink of an eye. One day with temperatures below freezing, and the ones that are up will turn bad. That large circle in the middle of the map is where areas that I expect to really get going here in the next week. These states include Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, Virginia, West Virginia, Kentucky, and southern parts of Ohio, Indiana, Illinois, and Kansas. With the soil temperatures hovering around that 55 to 60 degree range, it should be prime growing conditions. On the west coast, you have 2-inch soil temperature ranging from 30 to 40 degrees, still very early. Another interesting map that I found and thought I would put in the presentation is the first spring leaf index map. And this shows the first leaves that have appeared compared to previous years in the past. And most of the areas are well ahead of schedule. Areas of Kansas, Missouri, southern Illinois, southern Indiana, Ohio, Kentucky, West Virginia are up to 20 days earlier compared to normal. Something you may want to keep an eye on as the season progresses. Once you have the right ground temperatures, you need the right moisture. The most important factor in any kind of mushroom growth is precipitation. This showing the past 30-day precipitation map. We can see a large pocket stretching from Mississippi to South Carolina having 6 to 8 inches of rain, and even some parts south of Atlanta upwards to 10 to 15 inches. Those areas are going to have a great year, plenty of moisture. States like North Carolina, Virginia, Tennessee, Kentucky, West Virginia, and Ohio having 2 to 4 inches statewide. That is plenty of rain for a great season. And states as Arkansas, Oklahoma, Missouri, Indiana, and Illinois having about 1 to 2 inches statewide. Some more rain will definitely be preferred in the foreseeable future. And on the West Coast, you have an abundance of moisture, ranging from 10 to even 20 inches of rain in the past 30 days. Plenty of moisture, should be a great year. And to the states that I have not mentioned yet, this map should not apply to you as it is too early for this type of moisture to have any effect on future morel growth. Although it is preferred to have more moisture right now, it is not necessary. Now what you've all been waiting for, my 2024 morel forecast map. Highlighted in red are areas that I think are going to have a bad season. This region of area consists of southern Utah, northeastern Arizona, New Mexico, panhandle of Texas, panhandle of Oklahoma, southwest Kansas, and southern Colorado. Now you may be asking me why I've labeled that area as a poor region. And that is because of the lack of precipitation and the random 80 to 90 degree days that you eventually get once a year a season. For my below average region, we have states such as northern Colorado, western Nebraska, Wyoming, South Dakota, North Dakota, southeast Montana, and a sliver of Minnesota. Onto my average region, we have northern parts of Utah, eastern Idaho, and western Montana. Then there's a large average area stretching from Texas to Minnesota, eastward all the way to New York. Much of this being from below average snowfall and above average temperatures. For our above average region, we have northern parts of Nevada, western parts of Idaho, and eastern parts of Oregon and Washington. Then again, we have a large region of above average prediction ranging from Louisiana up to Iowa, and again eastward all the way into Maine. Now on to my epic region. I defined epic areas as areas that have potential to have their best season that they've had in the last 10 years. On the west coast, this consists of northern California, western Oregon, and western Washington. Lots of precipitation should lead to a great season. The other epic region is located in the southeast United States. This region will cover Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, Virginia, West Virginia, Maryland, Kentucky, and Tennessee. These states have potential for a historic year as rainfall has been abundant so far throughout the months of February and March. I expect multiple large findings in these areas. And that will conclude my first ever morel forecast. My Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube can all be found at Morel Mushroom Man. I will be documenting my season as well as sharing many of my 10 years of foraging tips throughout the season. I spent many hours researching and predicting for the 2024 morel season. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I wish you a plentiful and abundant morel season.